Game 6, Thursday night, Oklahoma City and Memphis. In Memphis, a chance for Memphis to close out. Memphis, the 7 seed, Oklahoma City, the 2. But Memphis won 50 games, and they were a 500 team more than 40 games into the season. So the back stretch of that season, the last 40 games of the season, Memphis was one of the best teams in the NBA. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with losing to Memphis. Memphis is a good basketball team. Memphis could go to the finals. You know, I don't think they will, but they could. There's no question. If
they didn't fire their coach last year, I'd be more willing
more
to
with them.
that.
Yeah, they were good last year too, but he'll get another job, Lionel Hollins. So there's no shame in being down to Memphis, but the Oklahoma City paper, what's the Oklahoman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ran this headline before Game 6, I guess after Game 5, where the Thunder had worked hard to get it back to where they got home court advantage back, but then they lost Game 5 at home. And the headline was this: Mr. Unreliable, with a picture of Durant. And then it was followed by a Barry Trammell column. Now, the paper has said that they meant very clearly he's been unreliable in the series. But it seemed like they were saying, oh, look at this guy, he's been unreliable. And from the team's point of view, this is a team that's like desperate to be able to re-sign this guy when he's a free agent.
I took it as Mr. Unreliable for this series. Still don't do it.
Yeah, still don't do it. Right, I mean, because again, you know, we saw the effect that great defensive players have, like that, and in fact, the way that LeBron couldn't get past the Pistons early in his career, right? I'm sorry, Jordan couldn't get past the Pistons, and LeBron kept getting bumped from the playoffs. Points made in this Deadspin piece right here, and that, you know, and when like Ron Artest would play that really intense, impressive defense on.
He played on Kobe sometimes.
On Kobe, yeah. Right? You know, and he can mess people up, and he's done it to a lot of people. Tony Allen is a great defensive player, and sometimes you just come up on a guy who is able to give you a tough time. And Tony Allen is an elite wing defender, and he's done a great job on Kevin Durant and against a top-notch team. And Memphis is a top-notch team. All of a sudden, Durant has had a tough series. And then you look at the other things about Oklahoma City, which is that with these two great players, and it's now funny for me to think of them as James Harden because he's the exact same kind of player. They have these guys, and they come down, and they're like, and then they take a shot, you know. Yeah. And when those shots don't fall, they look terrible.
And they're a professional team that's running anything in particular.
I believe in the first 2 games of the series, Westbrook and Durant, the 2 of them alone, missed 67 shots in the first 2 games of the series. I mean, somehow it was 1-1. Right. It was lucky that they were 1-1. So, you know,
the thing is, professional teams have defensive strategies. The same way a good offensive team will have a great strategy to score. There's a great strategy. I mean, it's a lot, of course, is Allen the way he's playing defense, but it's a collective team because of course he's going to get rubbed off of picks. He's going to have schemes to keep him from stopping Durant. There's help. It's a really good scheme. It's the way it works. So I've always been annoyed by just general basketball talk when people say things like one-on-one, even from street ball to pros. Who do you think would win on one-on-one? I said, well, that's not basketball, so I'm not going to. Right. Basketball is not one-on-one. That's not the sport.
Yeah, so it's like saying, who do you think would win, Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart if they were driving to work? I think that's my first ever clever NASCAR reference. I can't believe I came up with 2 drivers.
That was the most impressive part.
That was the most impressive part. Yeah, right. It's not the game. It's not the right. And to me, and I'm glad you said that because it's not even. And it's why I don't like watching that one-on-one basketball nearly as much. It's why, and I think that's true for a lot of us. We see the NBA marketed itself starting in the '80s successfully as this league of players rather than a league of teams. But you know, I think that the NBA fans are caught up a little in the Wizards because they play team basketball and they're fun to watch. And all year we were caught up a little bit in the Blazers because they play team basketball and they're fun to watch. And all these teams.
Golden State they like.
And Golden State, these guys that move the ball, even when Golden State is like, okay, Steph, get us a bucket, and they give it to him, it seems to me that half the time he goes to the hoop and he gets the ball to somebody else, and somebody else gets an open look. So at Oklahoma City, for whatever reason, has seemingly, they got to the edge and then they haven't been able to get over the top. And maybe Maybe it was losing Harden. I don't know. It seems like adding Harden would be a catastrophe to that team. And last year, of course, they had Martin, who sort of filled in ably.
Switch, yeah.
And now he's gone, and they haven't. But that said, look, they won whatever it was, 57 games in the elite conference.
Right.
And now look, they have Game 7 at home.
Where do you see it going?
So let me read real quick. Here's the column. Trouble is Durant's aggression and positive attitude come and go. I hate this shit. I hate this, and I hate when sports guys think I do it, but I hate it when other people do it. But I do it wisely. But when guys think they've analyzed
the psyche of
a player, and and there's a difference between speculating about it and saying hey, I looked at something and man, am I wrong? Did he look defeated? As opposed to this. So his shoulders have dipped repeatedly during rough stretches of this street fight. I'm not a writer. I write some, but I would never. I would have written that. I'd been like, what the fuck am I talking about? So his shoulders have dipped repeatedly during stretches.
Is it the street fight part you were discussing about? Because I was a little annoyed by that part. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess you just call it that this was like
it's a gritty,
physical, gritty series.
Totally.
And Tony Allen, is in his grill, so that kind of thing. His effort is spotty. His confidence is shaken. Again, I don't think it's his effort. We read a lack of success as a lack of effort. I can't tell you how many baseball games I've watched with fans of whatever team, and they go when they're down 3-0 in the 7th inning. They're like, they just look listless. There's no spark. And I'm like, they're listless, no spark because you can't hit Justin Verlander. Exactly. That's why Clayton Kershaw is throwing a ball on the paint again and again and again, and they can't hit it. They're not listless. Yeah. They're being defeated by an elite player.
They're competing against another athlete.
Who's trying very hard. And then it says that's not appropriate for a 25-year-old superstar. A 21-year-old star, sure. When Durant made just 35% of his shots in a 6-game series against the Lakers in 2010, we knew it was growing pains. Knew that Durant was being hounded by Ron Artest, the Tony Allen of yesteryear, a guy who sold out to defense and could stage Les Miserables for even the sharpest of shooters. I didn't even get to that part.
He should have deleted that part,
too. You Barry might be a good columnist. You got to start that one over. So first of all, you set up sort of that he isn't trying hard. Mm-hmm. And then you go, and that's not appropriate. Like, well, but your pretense is wrong. He's just being unsuccessful, and sometimes that happens.
And I know it's a cliche statement, and I'm one of the biggest critics of when athletes get on a press conference and say, we got to give the other team credit. They played hard, they did this, because it's the general PR statement to say instead of like, man, I'm fucking mad that we lost that game. It's ridiculous. We should have beat this team. They can't say that. Instead they go, we got to give Memphis some credit, because they played great. That's a tough team. We're competing against a really good team right now, and that's the truth here. You're competing against a really good team, and Tony Allen is locking you down. He's playing great defense. I'm trying to find an answer. Every once in a while I do. I haven't scored 0 points this series in a game, so I'm doing something. I'm trying. Now, when it comes to the billboard, I think we're going to come back to. I'm sorry, the newspaper article in Oklahoma where they said he's not really there. What was the specifics of what they called it? They went after him.
His confidence is shaken. His effort is spotted.
Or just the
shoulders
headline.
dipping.
The headline,
Mr. Unreliable.
Unreliable, right?
At least they were respectful when they called him Mr. Unreliable.
So the clarification when they said, "Oh my God, this is messed up. How could you say this?" And they go, "No. We meant just in this series." I'm gonna come back to this because this was in my head. So someone says, "You know what? You're shitty." You're like, what the fuck? He said, "No, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. I meant you're shitty right now." No, it's still an insult. Why? How is this that this is okay? Am I fine?
Mike Sherman, who I guess is the editor, he's the sports editor. We take great pride in our headlines about big sporting events and news in Oklahoma. Thursday's headline in the Oklahoman on Durant's performance in the Memphis series missed the mark. Words were overstated, unduly harsh. The headline and presentation left the impression we were commenting on Durant's season, career, or even character. We were not. We were referring only to the Memphis series. I get that, but though when you say his effort is spotty, that's his character. Mm-hmm. That's because theoretically you should be able to sustain effort. I'm sure what you're seeing is part of high-level athletic endeavor was, I'm sure, frustration at being foiled by a guy who was doing his job. So anyway, it's just, again, it's the kind of thing that, Durant handled it in a very classy manner. When a reporter asked him about it, he hadn't even heard about it at that point. So he was like, oh, really? Huh. Well,
awesome.
I'm doing all I can.
The reporter's like,
oh, yeah. So Game 6, anyway, the big story is.
Have you seen the billboard in response?
No.
I saw this quickly this morning,
great.
so I didn't know.
Tell me.
I don't know who put up the billboard, but in Oklahoma City, there's a sign. It's just straightforward. It's huge. It says OKC, Big Red Heart, KD.
Oh, that's nice.
Hopefully to try and warm him back up.
Warm him back up, yeah. Well, anyway, Game 6 in Memphis, a chance for, as we said, a very good team to close them out at home. 104-84. The Thunder just dominate that game, took total charge of that game. Durant, 11 of 23 from the field, 14 of 15 from the free throw line, 10 rebounds. What was, I thought, perhaps most significant about this is that on plays where Allen would have been most in his grill, and we had a performance last night at the Young Turks, so I didn't see the game, but he was 0 for 6 from 3. So he went 11 of 17 on 2-pointers, 14 of 15 from the free throw line. So that means going to the hole, aggressive, scoring, finishing, and he couldn't get his 3-point shot to go in a game they won by 20.
Which, in my opinion, is when he's absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, if he hits 2 of those, if he, for God's sake, he goes 3 of 6, then whatever, then the game was over earlier. Yeah. So a really impressive performance. They were up 20 after 3, and I think 21. Then they ended up winning by 20. They were unthreatened on the road. That's a big game. And they also got Game 7 on Sunday.